Hey everyone, welcome back to the Critic-Verse. Today we're going to continue with the Season 3 catch-up, recap, and review of Warrior. This time we're talking about Season 3, Episode 4, titled In Chinatown, No One Thinks About Forever. Now before we get to the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to keep updated on all things Critic-Verse. Now let's get to the review. Once again, the episode is titled In Chinatown, No One Thinks About Forever. The title is said as a drinking toast, but for some of the characters it has a deeper meaning. A toy tried to think of forever outside of Chinatown, but forever went up in flames. Yan Mi is thinking about her tomorrow, but not about forever, as she doesn't actually know where she's going. Mai Ling is trying to think about tomorrow by investing, but gets blindsided by her present. The episode begins the morning after the last episode ended. The vineyard is in ruins, filled with ash and the bodies of dead women. Nellie still believes the vineyard can be salvaged, but a toy, watching Lai sob, has given up and says she's taking the girls back to Chinatown, where she can protect them. Next, as Mosley is waiting for Lee outside of Abigail's bar, Jack once again voices his problems with Lee, and now apparently Agent Mosley as well, and tells Lee if he cares about Abigail, he'll leave. Mosley suggests that they sweep the shops in Chinatown to see if they can narrow down an area where the plates would be, and Lee suggests they meet at the station from now on, taking Jack's words to heart. Mai Ling is having tea with Eliza and her husband Bernard, and after a short talk about horses, Bernard starts to talk about business. He agrees Mai Ling should be able to make investments outside of Chinatown, and he offers to hold her money and invest it as his own portfolio, similarly to what Atoy was doing in Season 1 and 2, before it sort of went out of hand. And Mai Ling wants to start immediately and drops a couple bands right in front of them. Yan Mi is showing Assam how to work the press, and he's having difficulty spinning the crank. And she makes a joke about how his precision with nunchucks doesn't translate to everything. We then learn that Yan Mi is self-taught because her father only focused on her brother, but she believes a woman in Chinatown needs a skill, and that she plans to head north after her father passes because there's nothing left for her. Lee finds a $10 counterfeit bill, but when he continues his search, he comes across an opium den, but he seems to walk past it. Buckley is then shown having dinner with Catherine Archer. They discuss the article he had paid for in the previous episode, but Buckley wonders why Catherine isn't married. She says she lived life in her youth, and by now there's slim picking. But Catherine reassures Buckley she'll help him win. Atoy is shown mourning some of her girls as she has them put in caskets, but cut to her in her room covering up her bruises, putting on her makeup, her jewelry, and her outfit, and it's like the perfect disguise. Like nothing ever happened. Like she is untouchable. Or at least she probably tells herself that. Assam then bursts into the room and he's ready for action. But Atoy is compartmentalizing, ready to hop back into her madam persona. And when Assam suggests taking some time, she goes on about a joke about how long it took her to put on her outfit. Marcel takes Hong to a private sex club that has a whole French Renaissance vibe to it. And next, one of the Hop Way guys gets handsy with one of the girls, and Lai is itching for a fight, but Atoy stops her before it starts trouble. Bill seeing the whole scene go down, but Atoy brushes it off. She gives Bill a gift and says extra for leaving town last week. Bill is warning her he may not be able to keep the bulls off her brothel anymore thanks to the new chief, and Atoy says the episode title as a toast. Li sits in an opium den, contemplating whether or not to give in, but in a moment of clarity, sees a passed out Hopway hatchet man with bills, and he takes those and is confirmed as counterfeit bills. But on his way out, Chow catches a glimpse of him. Li Yong and Kong Pak are sparring, and Kong Pak notes Li Yong is unfocused. He's focused on Mai Ling's actions and how he can't protect her if he can't be there for her because she keeps going into the pond where he can't follow. Nellie is in court putting all her talk about lawyers into action, but they don't have that solid case that she thought she did. And they are put to shame as the judge rules in favor of the state and eminent domain is put into effect, and she essentially loses her land. Nellie scolds Douglas for his actions, and like the tycoon he is, he plays it off like she's just a scorned woman. Mai Ling is then shown playing pool with Bernard as Eliza just watches and complains. When Eliza leaves to get more drinks, Bernard makes a pass at Mai Ling, but she rejects it, noting she wants to keep things professional. Unbeknownst to both of them, Eliza saw the whole thing, and this can't go well. Mosley returns to his office to find Lee planning something. Lee narrowed down where the plates would be, and he figures that it would be in Hopway HQ. And Mosley goes to tell Atwood just in case they need backup. Leary goes to Douglas's home once again to find him training with the sword. Douglas wants to talk about Pierce. You remember, Fork Guy? Leary says it cost him his men work and asks how is Douglas going to fix that. He starts to give Leary a sales pitch about working with him, and he believes Leary can help him get everything he wants out of San Francisco. As they have a drink, the judge from Nellie's trial was there, showing that Douglas had the game rigged from the start. Maybe Nellie should have taken his first offer. As Atwood leads the Chinatown squad, he gives orders for Stone to take a couple men and set up a perimeter. The Bulls bust in, but Young Jun tells everyone to remain calm and not do anything. Atwood then has them lined up and starts to berate them and orders his men to trash the place. Atwood then challenges Young Jun, and Young Jun happily accepts. And after he says some obscenities about Atwood's mom, he also spits on Atwood and wipes his spit on Atwood's uniform, who then proceeds to beat the out of Young Jun. Bill and Lee find tracks, but the press and plates are gone. Cut to Assam and Yan Mi pushing the hidden press in a donkey cart. They know they are boxed in, but Assam tells Yan Mi to go home, but she doesn't and advises Assam to remove his jacket as it's a dead giveaway. Back at Hopway HQ, Atwood is wailing on Young Jun. When Lee tries to interfere, Bill stops him, but Bill steps in himself. And eventually Atwood stops and tells Bill to arrest Young Jun for assaulting an officer. And I guess cops just gonna cop. Assam has Yan Mi lure the cops into an alleyway, and Yan Mi worries there's no way out. But Assam tells her they can't get out either, which leaves Yan Mi a bit confused. As they start to question Yan Mi, they realize that she doesn't even understand them, and Assam takes out the lanterns and then proceeds to go to work on them, using their own nightsticks and even the flame from their broken lanterns against them. Then slips in and out of the shadows to take out any reinforcements that come. Yan Mi then takes out a bull before he can shoot at Assam. As they cart Young Jun off, Lee figures Chow tipped them, thinking he could beat him there, and Bill blames that on Atwood, and even Lee believes Bill should have been chief. Hell, even I believe Bill should have been chief. No matter how crooked he is, he's still better than Atwood. Assam hides the plates in Yan Mi's room, but she's still in shock from everything that went down. But the pair then kiss and eventually get sticky. Mai Ling returns to Eliza's home only for her to suddenly be cold to Mai Ling. I mean, we know why she's being that way. Two officers come from behind and arrest Mai Ling under criminal solicitation, and Eliza says she saw what happened, claims Bernard told her everything, and when Mai Ling denies it, she slaps her and tells the officers to take her away while Mai Ling is kicking and screaming. Wow, what a fantastic episode, but it is jam-packed with plot. And I guess that's fitting, or maybe the opposite, because it's actually the shortest episode of the season so far. But let's talk about a couple of things. Atoy gives up on the vineyard dream, but also gets told in this episode that even Chinatown isn't safe anymore. And I really hope she has a third option at this point. Agent Mosley is such a puzzling character, as he doesn't appear outwardly racist, but doesn't say anything or even try to stop Atwood as he's beating on Young Jun, even though his face has a visual discomfort, I would say. One thing that I kind of don't like about Young Jun is that Young Jun was born in Chinatown in San Francisco and has lived there his whole life, yet he can't understand nor speak English even on the level of Atoy or Chow. But I digress. Li Yong sparring with Kong Pak was such an awesome scene, and Kong Pak is such a great advisor. At least he is to Li Yong, better than he is to Mai Ling, I believe. And I think that's on purpose, as he was talking earlier this season about wanting Li Yong to lead the Long Z. I believe there's a bit of foreshadowing as we watch Douglas train with his sword. There might be a sword fight between Atoy and Douglas later on. Douglas buying the judge was executed perfectly in my opinion, because you really didn't see it coming. It shows you how rigged it all was. And finally, something interesting to note is that both leaders of the major tongs were arrested on the same night without the San Francisco PD knowing, but it still makes them look very strong. And I can't wait to see how Mai Ling and Young Jun are gonna get out of this. But we'll talk about that next time. See you guys later in the Critic-Verse.